Listen closely, because what I'm about to say may sound simple, even playful, but it has rearranged lives, redirected destinies, and opened doors so wide people wondered if the hinges had ever been there at all. You don't need to strain, you don't need to wrestle the universe into submission, and you certainly don't need to shout at the sky like it owes you money. What you need are the right words spoken from the right inner posture. And yes, words matter, more than we were ever taught. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, here we go again, another person telling me to say magical sentences, let me stop you right there. I know you're tired. I know you've tried things. I know you've spoken affirmations before, while nothing changed, except maybe your voice got hoarse and your patience ran out. You did the vision boards. You said the positive lines. You even tried smiling at your problems like that would scare them away. And still, doors stayed shut, opportunities ghosted you, and life seemed to say, nice try, but no. So let's be honest together for a moment. The frustration you feel isn't because you're doing life wrong. It's because you were taught the right tools, but the wrong order. You were handed words without being shown how consciousness moves through them. You were told to declare without being taught alignment. That's like trying to drive a car with passion but no steering wheel. Lots of noise. Very little direction. Here's the core challenge, and I want you to really hear this. Most people speak from need, not from authority. They speak from anxiety, not from assurance. They speak as beggars, hoping the universe will be kind, instead of as co-creators who understand the law. And the universe, being precise and slightly mischievous, always responds to the state behind the words, not the words themselves. That's why one person can say, everything works out for me, and life rearranges itself like an obedient assistant, while another says the same sentence, and nothing happens except a mild sense of embarrassment. Same words, different vibration, different inner stance. So let's talk about the stance. Imagine for a moment that the universe is not a stubborn gatekeeper, but a perfectly tuned echo chamber. It does not argue. It does not judge. It does not say, well, you don't deserve this. It simply says, this is what you expect to be true. Very well. And then it sets about proving you right. Now here's where humor comes in, because if the universe really wanted to punish us, it wouldn't need lightning bolts. It would just keep agreeing with us. Nobody ever helps me. Okay, things always go wrong at the last minute. Done. Opportunities are hard to come by. Say less. The universe is like that overly literal friend who takes everything you say at face value and never checks your tone. So, the real work is not forcing doors. It's speaking from the assumption that doors are already eager to open. Let me give you a simple framework. Nothing complicated. No spiritual gymnastics. Just 3 inner shifts that change the power of any sentence you speak. The first shift is from wanting to expecting. Wanting says, I hope this happens. Expecting says, of course this happens. One is tentative, the other is calm. And calm is incredibly persuasive to the universe. The second shift is from timing anxiety to trust in sequence. When you say, why isn't it here yet? You are secretly declaring absence. When you say, it's unfolding perfectly, you are declaring intelligence at work. The universe responds very differently to panic than it does to poise. The third shift is from control to cooperation. You are not here to micromanage infinity. You are here to agree with it. Life opens fastest when you stop arguing with how it chooses to deliver. Now, with that framework in mind, let's talk about the exact words. Not shouted, not begged, not whispered in fear. Spoken gently, almost casually, as if you're stating a fact you've already accepted. Here is one of the most powerful sentences you can ever say, and people often overlook it because it sounds too easy. I am divinely guided, and everything that is meant for me comes to me at the right time. Say that slowly, and notice how it feels in your body. If you feel resistance, that's not failure, that's information. It means part of you is still gripping, still trying to force outcomes, and that's okay. Awareness always comes before release. This sentence works because it removes desperation. It tells the universe, I trust your routing system, And the universe loves nothing more than being trusted. It opens doors not to reward you, but to stay consistent with the assumption you've accepted. Here's another one. And this one tends to make people laugh nervously because it feels bold. Nothing can block what is divinely mine. Adan. Now notice, it does not say, I will fight what blocks me. It says, nothing can block. That's authority. That's alignment with a law larger than circumstances. When you say this and mean it, obstacles lose their dramatic flair. They either dissolve or redirect you to something better, sometimes so smoothly you barely notice the shift. And let's be practical for a moment. These words are not magic spells. You don't say them once and then go back to rehearsing fear all day like it's your favorite hobby. Words work when they are repeated, until they become your default assumption. Think of it like this. Your mind is a courtroom, and whatever thought you repeat most often becomes the winning argument. If fear has been presenting its case for years, it's no wonder it's been winning. We're not here to silence fear violently. We're here to outvote it consistently. Here's a sentence that does wonders when you're tired of trying so hard. I allow life to surprise me in my favor. Isn't that refreshing? It takes the weight off your shoulders. It says, I don't need to plan every miracle. I just need to be available for them. And availability is magnetic. Now let's talk about why these words open doors in a way effort alone never could. From a philosophical standpoint, consciousness moves toward coherence. When your inner language becomes orderly, trusting, and expectant, your outer world rearranges to match that order. From a logical standpoint, when you speak with certainty, you act differently. You notice opportunities you would have ignored. You respond instead of react. You move with timing instead of tension. And from a scientific standpoint, your nervous system calms down, your perception widens, and suddenly you're not tunnel-visioned on lack. Same life, different lens. Now I want to address something gently, because it's important. If you've been speaking negative things about yourself for years, don't expect your mind to immediately throw you a parade when you start speaking truth. It may protest. It may say, who do you think you are? Smile at that voice. It's just an old habit, afraid of retirement. You don't argue with it. You simply keep speaking from your new understanding. Try this one when self-doubt shows up wearing a very convincing suit. I'm always in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. Say it when you don't feel it. Especially then. Because feelings follow assumptions, not the other way around. Now here's an actionable step I want you to take today. Not tomorrow. Not when life gets easier. Today. Choose one sentence you've heard so far. Just one. Say it 3 times in the morning. Not like a chant, but like a calm conclusion you've already reached. Then go about your day without scanning obsessively for results. That scanning is just disguised doubt. Let life respond in its own clever way. And when something small shifts, and it will, don't brush it off. Don't say, that was nothing. Gratitude locks in momentum. Say quietly, I see that. Thank you. The universe responds beautifully to recognition. Let me leave you with this thought for now. You were never meant to force doors open with exhaustion and strain. You were meant to walk so confidently in alignment that doors recognize you before you even reach for the handle. Now that the ground has been gently prepared, let's go deeper. Because this is where most people either glide into ease or quietly sabotage themselves without realizing it. And don't worry, no one is in trouble here. We're just shining a little light on habits that have been running on autopilot. You see, once you start speaking words of alignment, something interesting happens. Life doesn't immediately explode into fireworks and parade floats. Instead, it tests your consistency. Not to punish you, not to tease you, but to see whether these words are now your residents or just your visitors. This is where many people slip. They say the words in the morning, feel hopeful for a moment, and then spend the rest of the day having full-blown arguments with reality. They say, I am divinely guided, and then panic at every delay. They say, nothing can block what is mine, and then interpret every silence as rejection. And the universe, being extremely polite, says, I see. We're still practicing. So let's talk about the invisible part of speech, the tone behind the words. Because words spoken with inner certainty carry weight, while words spoken with inner resistance float away like polite suggestions. Here's a truth that makes people laugh and wince at the same time. You don't get what you affirm, you get what you agree with. Agreement is quieter than affirmation. Agreement feels settled. It doesn't need to convince anyone. That's why one of the most powerful phrases you can ever adopt is this. This is already working out in ways I cannot yet see. Notice how that sentence relaxes the need to monitor. It removes the obsession with evidence. It gently tells your mind, you don't need to understand the whole story to trust the direction. And let me tell you something from experience. The universe does its best work behind your back. The moment you demand a progress report every 5 minutes, you interrupt the flow like a manager who keeps barging into the kitchen while the chef is still cooking. Now let's address the hidden reason doors stay closed for so many well-meaning people. It's not because they're unlucky. It's because they are unconsciously loyal to struggle. Somewhere along the way, effort became proof of worth. Ease started to feel suspicious. And when ease shows up, the mind says, this can't be right. I didn't suffer enough. So, here's a sentence that gently dissolves that old agreement. I give myself permission to receive with ease. Say that and watch what comes up. Guilt? Resistance? A voice that says, must be nice. Good. That's the old programming surfacing so it can leave. You're not wrong for noticing it. You're right on time. Here's another one that works wonders when you feel stuck in waiting mode. I am never delayed. I am always being positioned. That single shift can save you years of frustration, because delays are often just redirections wearing an unflattering outfit. When you stop calling them problems, they stop behaving like problems. Now let's get very practical. Because philosophy is lovely, but life happens on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. When your patience is low and your coffee has betrayed you, what do you say when things don't move immediately? You say this calmly, even with a hint of amusement. Something better is rearranging itself. Not I hope, not maybe, just is. Language like this trains your mind to expect improvement instead of bracing for disappointment. And here's where humor saves the day. The universe has a sense of timing that often looks rude before it looks brilliant. It will remove something you thought you needed, just to make space for something that actually fits. If you panic during the removal, you miss the upgrade. So try this sentence when something exits your life unexpectedly. I release this easily and make room for what belongs. That's grace. That's cooperation. That's how doors open without splintering. Now let's talk about inner conversations, because this is where the real dialogue with the universe happens. Out loud, words are important, yes, but the sentences you whisper to yourself while brushing your teeth, scrolling your phone, or lying awake at night are the ones that set the tone. If your inner dialogue sounds like a worried committee meeting, no affirmation can override that. So we don't fight the inner voice. We re-educate it. When the mind says, what if this never works? You respond gently. Everything always works out for me. When the mind says, I don't see how this can happen, you respond, that's not my job, and say it with a smile, because that sentence is a relief disguised as surrender. Now here's one of the most underrated phrases of all, and it opens doors precisely because it removes force. I am open to inspired action. I want to say, notice it doesn't say frantic action or desperate action. Inspired action arrives calmly. It feels obvious in hindsight. And when you move from inspiration instead of anxiety, doors open because you're walking toward them at the right moment. People often ask, how do I know when to act? You'll know because it won't feel heavy. It will feel natural. And until then, your job is alignment, not acceleration. Let me say that again, because it saves so much unnecessary stress. Your job is alignment, not acceleration. Now let's talk about trust without becoming passive, because some people hear trust and think it means sitting on the couch waiting for miracles to knock politely. Trust is active cooperation. It's listening instead of pushing. It's responding instead of forcing. So here's a powerful daily declaration. I move when guided, and I rest when guided. That sentence alone can correct burnout patterns that have been running for decades. And here's one for those moments when comparison tries to sneak in and tell you everyone else is ahead. My path unfolds in perfect order for me. Comparison dissolves when you realize life isn't a race. It's a custom itinerary. Now I want to give you a small practice that turns these words into lived experience. For the next 24 hours, pay attention to how you speak about what hasn't happened yet. Do you say, I'm still waiting? Or do you say, it's on its way? One sounds heavy, the other sounds inevitable. Choose the inevitable language. And when impatience rises, instead of scolding yourself, simply say, I trust the intelligence arranging this. End quote. Trust is not passive, it's powerful. Now let me share something subtle but crucial. Gratitude spoken before evidence is a master key. Not forced gratitude, not fake cheerfulness, but quiet appreciation that says, I know something good is moving. Try this sentence before sleep. Thank you for the doors opening, seen and unseen. You don't need to list them. The acknowledgement itself signals readiness. And here's where momentum builds. When you stop begging for proof and start expecting alignment, life responds faster. Not because you deserve it more, but because you're no longer contradicting it internally. Let me leave you with this for now. Words spoken from certainty don't strain. They settle. They land. They declare a reality the universe is happy to confirm. Let these phrases become familiar. Let them feel normal. And when they do, you'll notice something delightful. You'll stop chasing doors and start noticing how many were already ajar. Now we arrive at the most important shift of all, the one that quietly turns words into power and intention into momentum. Because by now you may be thinking, these sentences feel good, they calm me. But how do they actually change anything out there? And that question is not doubt. That question is intelligence asking for integration. Here is the answer, stated plainly and without mystery. Life does not respond to effort. It responds to assumption. Whatever you quietly assume to be true organizes your behavior, your perception, your timing, and your reactions. And those, in turn, shape outcomes. The universe doesn't need to be forced. It needs to be agreed with. That is why the most powerful words are never dramatic. They are settled. They are spoken the way you'd say, the sun will rise tomorrow. No tension, no performance, just certainty. So now let's talk about how to live from these words instead of merely repeating them. Most people treat affirmations like errands. Say the sentence, check the box, go back to worrying. But alignment is not a task, it's a posture. It's the difference between leaning forward anxiously and sitting back with quiet confidence. One says, I need this to happen. The other says, this is happening. Here is a sentence that instantly shifts posture when spoken sincerely. I know I am supported, not I hope, not I wish, just I know. When that knowing settles in, your nervous system relaxes. Your decisions become cleaner. You stop chasing crumbs and start recognizing invitations. Now let's address the last hidden block that keeps doors closed even after people change their language. And this one is subtle. It's attachment to how things must happen. You may say all the right words, but secretly insist, it has to come this way, through this person, by this date. That insistence tightens the flow. It's like telling a river exactly which rocks it's allowed to touch. So here is a sentence that restores flexibility without losing power. This or something better now manifests for me. People underestimate this one because it feels gentle, but it's decisive. It tells life, I trust your imagination more than mine. And life has a very impressive imagination. Now let's talk about the difference between patience and resignation, because they are not the same thing. Patience is expectancy without tension. Resignation is hope with a limp. When you're patient, you're alert. When you're resigned, you're dull. So when waiting stretches longer than you expected, don't say, I guess this just isn't working. Say this instead, I am being prepared for what I've asked for. That sentence reframes waiting as training instead of punishment. And preparation always precedes expansion. Here's something people rarely talk about. Doors don't always open outward. Sometimes they open inward, requiring you to step into a version of yourself that feels unfamiliar at first. That's why opportunities can feel uncomfortable before they feel exciting. So say this when growth feels awkward. I expand easily into who I am becoming. No force, no drama, just allowance. Now let's talk about fear, because fear will absolutely show up when doors begin to open. That surprises people. They think fear means they're off track. Often it means the opposite. Fear is the echo of an old identity, realizing it's no longer in charge. When fear whispers, "What if you mess this up?" you respond calmly, "I am always guided." When fear says, "This is too good to be true," you answer, "I expect good." Expectation is not arrogance. It's alignment. Now here is a powerful practice that turns words into lived reality. It takes less than 2 minutes, and it changes how the day unfolds. Before you start your day, say this quietly. Show me the open doors today. Not give me, not fix things, just show me. That puts you in observer mode instead of controller mode, and observers notice opportunities, controllers miss. Then, as you go through your day, don't strain to make something happen. Simply stay receptive. If a thought feels heavy, release it. If an action feels forced, pause. Ease is your compass. Now let's address receiving, because this is where many people unknowingly shut doors right as they open them. Compliments, help, opportunities, kindness. If you deflect them, diminish them, or say, "Oh, it was nothing," you train life to bring less. So, adopt this sentence and use it generously. I receive this with gratitude. Say it out loud. Say it internally. Receiving completes the circuit. Gratitude seals the flow. Here's another sentence that changes how others respond to you, which in turn opens doors you never planned for. I am easy to work with, and life meets me with ease. Ease attracts cooperation. Tension attracts resistance. People can feel your inner posture even if they don't know why they like being around you. Now let's talk about consistency without pressure. You don't need to repeat these words all day like a parrot on a mission. You need to return to them when you notice yourself drifting into worry, control, or impatience. Think of these sentences as home base. You wander, you notice, you return, and when something works out, even slightly, say this: I knew it. Not smugly, calmly. That quiet acknowledgement reinforces your expectation. It tells your mind, see, this is normal now. Now, here's a sentence that dissolves the fear of missing out, which causes people to grab the wrong doors just to avoid waiting. What is meant for me cannot pass me by. Say that and feel the relief. No scrambling, no chasing, no panic decisions. Right doors do not require desperation. Let's also talk about forgiveness, because unresolved resentment is like slamming doors yourself and then wondering why nothing's opening. Forgiveness is not approval, it's release. So when old stories come up, say, I free myself from this. That's it. No replay, no justification. Freedom is efficient. Now here's the final integration, and I want you to listen closely. The universe does not respond to intensity. It responds to clarity. Clear assumptions create clean pathways. When you stop contradicting yourself internally, life doesn't have to work around your resistance. That's why the most powerful declaration of all sounds almost boring. All is well. Say it when things are calm. Say it when things feel uncertain, especially then, because calm confidence is the language of alignment. Now let me speak directly to you for a moment. If you are listening to this, it's because you are ready to stop pushing and start permitting. You're done trying to earn what is already meant for you. You're done wrestling doors that were never locked. You're learning to recognize handles instead of hinges. So here is how you move forward from here. Choose a handful of these sentences, not all of them, the ones that feel like relief instead of effort. Let them become your default responses. When confusion arises, return to clarity. When impatience rises, return to trust. When fear speaks loudly, answer softly, and then live your life. Because the point was never to sit still waiting for magic. The point was to move through life with such inner agreement that magic feels practical. Now, if something in you feels lighter, calmer, more certain than when you started, that's alignment taking root. That's the door opening inward. Stay with that feeling. Let it guide you. And if this resonated with you, stay connected. Share your experience. Let others know what shifted. And And keep returning to these words, not as wishes, but as truths you've finally agreed to live by. Because when your words and your assumptions match, the universe doesn't need to be forced. It opens.